What's good, family? Welcome to another episode of An Honest Conversation about hip-hop. It is your boy, Hip-Hop Old Head, a.k.a. D. Moraney, a.k.a. Hip-Hop's Uncle Phil. And tonight I have with me the one and only.
It's your boy, son Kapone, the greatest rapper never known. And we posted on a Friday, man, doing what we do.
That is right, man. How you feeling?
Nah, man, we feeling better. We recovering. I'm still walking around like Phil Jackson without the rings and
Without
shit.
the rings,
and without GD Bus, you know what I mean?
You walking around like Phil in New York?
Oh, man, shit. I'm feeling the agony right now. Shit, that's what I'm fucking feeling.
Phil the Agony is a rapper. Whoa, bar, Son Capone. Look at you. Look at you.
I need a new lumbar. That's what the fuck I need right now. Shit. Oh, man.
Hey, well, it's good to have you back, man. A lot of shit has went down since we last sat down, which always happens because it's hip-hop, it's life. And as we get older, shit keeps continuing to happen.
Man.
So let's first start off the show with the rest in peace to the rapper out of Brooklyn by the name of Pop Smoke, Bashar Jackson, only 20 years old. Up and coming rapper within the industry. He had, two songs that I was aware of before his demise, but had a lot of traction behind him and had a lot of support. If I'm not mistaken, is signed to, you know what, I think it's Republic, but I'm not even going to say that because it doesn't matter at this point. But so for those of you that haven't been, I don't know, dug underground or some crazy shit like that, February 19th, he was shot and killed wee hours in the morning in West Hollywood, Beverly Hills, some area like that. Reports early were that it was possibly a setup or him just being young and dumb and posting shit online, his homies, him or whatever, just on some floss mode status. Ended up getting a home invasion and he ended up dying there. New reports have come out to say that this is some sort of hit that was orchestrated by, someone due to the fact nothing was stolen and all this other kind of other shit. So it's crazy, man. Let me get your thoughts on your perspective on this whole situation.
I think it's terrible, you know what I mean? And I think for him to be so young and not even reach his plateau, I think it's just unfortunate, man. And we got to do better because it's, and I promise it's in the hands of our own, you know what I mean, as far as who is behind this and everything else. No conspiracy theories or anything like that. It's, the kid was getting money. I think that everybody need to start learning to be private with their finances and, not being so boisterous on social media because there are people lurking, and unfortunately it's our own. We want to say it's the laws or it's the, it's the man, but it's our own that's doing more of the lurking than them,
Right,
so
right. And you're right when we touch on that, and when you touched on that, because it's crazy. Because if this would have been a police officer situation, we'd have been up in arms. Mm-hmm. Because it's not, and as we know right now, it's our own that carried this out. We're somber, we're sad. We're not outraged, we're not mad. They're already throwing up the pictures, and again, I mean this with no disrespect. Facts are the facts, but they're already throwing up pictures of this young man dapping Nipsey up in heaven with Kobe and Gigi, rest in peace to them, and rest in peace to all these other people, welcoming him in. It's already, he's been shoved to this celebrity martyr type status, but there's really no outrage. Now, there's some people, Jeezy made a video. There's some other people, Nicki Minaj has said some things. But where's that same energy for when we killing our own and the police brutality? It's inconsistent. And I find it being a weakness amongst us.
Oh, of course. Because, we get too distracted and we get distracted on the wrong things. You know what I mean? Instead of big helping them, we should have been big protecting them. And just like with the rest of them. You know what I mean? With everyone that's we're losing too many to, just murder. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's nothing new because, we've all got relatives that have been murdered. Unfortunately, you know what I mean? It's at the hands of our own.
Yeah.
And that shit, we got to start regulating and, we can't, as you say, treat the police department no different than we treating our own because, if they're doing the same thing, there's still no justice either way. You know what I mean?
Right.
And we're taking that loss. And, The only difference is if these cats get caught, they're going to get convicted. You know what I mean?
Right. And we're killing ourselves at a higher rate and have been killing ourselves at a higher rate. And that's the thing that I think is tragic. I mean, you know, and then it's just, I don't know, like some of the shit with Blueface warning all the youngsters don't come to LA because this is how we get down. You know, I just find it unnecessary.
That's ignorant.
You know what I mean?
And then, man, anybody can come to LA, and LA is no different than anywhere else that we go to on the or in the country. As long as you come in here with respect, you respect your surroundings. You ain't got to understand them, but if you respect them, then you're not gonna have any problems. You know what I mean? But if you come in here acting indignant, then there's going to be problems. But most people don't come here acting indignant because they fear of the persona that's out here, you know, which, I mean, it's rightfully so. But I've been here and I've been to many hoods and, you know, with all different races in different sections of the city, and I've never had any problems with anybody, you know what I mean? But I don't come in with that bad energy. And Blueface, stop trying to scare folks, you know what I mean, as far as this is what happens or threatening them, you know what I mean? Like, now, we don't want people to be scared. I mean, one thing I learned, especially with the Malcolm X movie, and it's the realest shit ever, is towards the end of the movie when he knew that his time was coming. Right. They asked him, do you want to go up and speak? And he said, if I can't speak in front of my people, I don't need to be speaking at all. Right. And that, man, that's the realest thing ever, man. We got to be comfortable around our people. And, man, shit, there's too much fear in the world right now. We fear the law, we fear ourselves, and I think it's all a control tactic. We got to get over that shit, you know what I mean, and start understanding and loving one another, and understand that shit, we're stronger together, as you know, as opposed to being divided. Right.
And you're 100% right when it comes to that, man. And it's very sad. And you know, I think that a lot of these dudes, and we talked about this many episodes ago, need to really invest in the security team.
Oh, yes, man. It's real out here.
Right. Whether you like him or you don't, Tekashi's security team was real. You know what I mean?
It helped when you got, 8-7 footers. Right. That's 400 and 400
and maybe when you got the feds protecting you, so I'm sure that those will be the voices.
Probably
at the feds. But you look at Kendrick's people, you look at the people that they have around them, they have some serious
you ain't getting no shots.
Security. Right.
When's the last time you seen Kendrick on TMZ getting caught up out of LAX?
Right. And he moves different than, this youngster Pop Smoke, who's really trying to get himself out there, establish himself. It appeared he was rolling with the little industry, Instagram industry playbook rules or whatever. We talked about that on the podcast before as well. So that's that new school stuff. But if you're going to move that way, then make sure you have the right team together. And everything that we're hearing, there's the surveillance video or whatever, it just looked like he got caught lacking. You should be in a community where it's gated, where they can't come get you anyway, instead of somewhere where they can just pull up, park, and come see you. You know what I mean? That's where I think these kids need to be a little more educated. And I think that and maybe there's somebody out there, I don't know if there's security security advisor to the hip hop stars or whatever, but that, these youngsters, you got money like that, you really need to start looking at it. You look at what happened with X.
But we kind of, what I'm saying, we kind of alienate these generations in the way that the NFL does it with these draft camps. After these kids get drafted by the NFL teams, what they'll do is they'll bring on retired veterans and explain the league to them. You know what I mean? What to look out for, what scenarios that you're going to be adjusted to, and what you're going to be introduced to. We need we're still young with the culture, but we need to start with the regulations on it.
Well, what's the difference between hip hop and the NFL or NBA? It's organized.
Yeah, exactly.
So we don't have a MC association like they have a players association. We don't have an hip hop artist association to where that can happen. And here's the other thing is we don't have as much control as the NBA or maybe these NFL players don't, because, and again, I don't mean this with any disrespect, but today's artists aren't as technically skilled as they used to be, so it's easier to probably blow up and make a whole lot of money than go to the NFL, because you have to have athletics, There's got to be a little bit of luck that's in there as well. Got to be maybe
location,
a location.
where you playing,
you know, coaches. If you're not smart enough, maybe coaches let you slide. Behavior. You know what I mean? If you look at hip hop over the last 3 years, or just rap in general, music in general, you're seeing a lot of people just popping up on the scene with very little talent and are able to make some money for a period of time. And so I just think it's the fact that the game is so watered down right now that if real musicians went on strike, it wouldn't matter.
You know,
it wouldn't matter. They would just plug somebody in.
FL Studios and fucking have the homeboy play 4 keys and throw a drum track on it.
Yeah, did you see the video of the computer generated Travis Scott making a Travis Scott song that sounded like it was a fucking Travis Scott song? This is a computer, a program. You know what I mean? So the AI is there, and this is on some other shit, you know, completely not on the topic we trying to discuss right now. But yeah, we wouldn't be able to even strike because they would just, you know, replace us with. They had the fake pop star in Japan that was Korea that was computer animated now. You know, so it's fucked up. So we don't have that control. No. So we wouldn't even be able to do something like that unless there was a certain label that really cared about the artists.
Yeah, but there's not.
There's
profit.
It doesn't appear to be that way, and that's us losing control of the culture, man. So before we move on, again, rest in peace to Pop Smoke. Condolences to his family, who are supposed to be out here in LA now, trying to sort things out. Which, again, you had a 20-year-old son who was about to probably make enough money, generational wealth, change his people's surroundings, and once again, another young man whose life has been taken away, and you know, the ripples in his gene pool and everything else, and that neighborhood, all the people whose lives he was about to change. And so if you're listening to one of these young artists who's made it, and maybe you haven't made it, you really need to consider investing in security in these days and times that we live in. Exactly. You definitely have to, if especially when you're out of bounds. You know, when you're not home, you got to make sure.
Shit, you be at home, look at Nip.
No, I feel you, but I'm just saying, he probably came out and thought he was having the time of his life.
Yeah, man, 20 years old. Cali, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's all them New Yorkers dream of is Cali. You know
exactly.
What I mean? So,
yeah.
Hey, in his mind, he made it, man. You know what, brother? You made it, bro. You know what I mean?
Yeah, top of the world, man. Top of the world. Any other thoughts before we slide on from that one?
No, man. I mean, just condolences to the family, as we stated, and you know, his fans and everybody that was tied to him, man. And I hate to see anyone of color lose it. You know, I mean, we don't have a long life expectancy as is. You know what I mean? But shit, to go in their 20s and stuff like that, or barely 20. You know, it's very sad, man. We need to tighten up.
Yeah, no, we definitely do. So you were out last week. I had my wife sit down with us, with myself, and the D Wade story broke or whatever, and you weren't here, so I knew you were gonna have a different take on this situation. So let me just start off with saying, what's your thoughts, man, on the Wade glory, or what's her name? I messed it up last week too, but Dwayne Wade, his woman, and their situation.
Gabrielle Union.
Yeah, there you go, the Wade Union. Yes.
All right. Well, I want to shout out Mimi, Miss Noemi, Mimi Moraney, for answering it, as a mother should.
Right.
But I'm gonna tell you like this: if I have any sons, nephews, or any associates, they're not going to no D Wade basketball camps. it's too much going on over there on that side, man. But the kid, I understand what they're doing. You want to be supportive of your kids, and
right,
and you want to build their confidence and have them be happy. But at 12 years old, I mean, shit, you're not really in control of anything at 12. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I as far as identification and everything like that, and finding your identity at 12 years old, I mean, most kids don't get it, and they say with males, we don't mature until we're like in our mid-20s.
Right,
you know what I mean?
right. Yeah.
And if you retarded like me, you probably, shit, you in your late 30s. You know what I mean? It's still bumping your head. But
right.
I just think it's too young. I understand the support and everything behind it, but like I said, with all this subgenre of and it's not even sexuality. It's just the identification.
Yeah. Right.
I just think we just like everything else, man. It's just overthought. You know what I mean? And there's overthought, and we've got to find some way to be original or unique. Mm-hmm. That we're so fucked up that we've got to go 10 miles west to find our uniqueness.
Right.
You know
And it's like I feel people today don't understand that them just being them is them being unique.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's it.
And I feel like labels now is really, and I don't mean record labels for those listening, but people labeling, I'm this, I'm that. People now have to try to figure out where they fit in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because there's just so many different labels and how people are addressing themselves. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying that has anything to do with this young man's choice to become a woman or whatever.
No, not at all.
But I just think in society in general, there's a lot of this, where do I fit in? Because I'm not this label, I'm not that label. No, you're you.
Yeah.
You fit in where you fit in. Now you're gonna have other interests and different and similar,
you're not gonna fit in
similar
anyway.
likes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But you should never, ever. You're not gonna find someone who's exactly like you. And if that's what you're looking for, or if you're looking for people to accept you, for who you are 100% of the time, 20% of the time, you're gonna lose.
Yeah.
Because you're gonna be let down, and you're gonna have false. You're gonna have just a false outlook on how life really works.
Yeah, and I mean, you can't accept you until you accept you.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, when we're coming up, man, and shout out to Norm, man, my brother.
Rest in peace, man.
We would go to different areas and in different neighborhoods where we weren't familiar with, and he'd be like, look, we got to adapt, as far as to our surroundings, and we kind of be aware of what's going on, and just because we weren't familiar with it, get familiar,
Right.
But that was, I guess, just the self-confidence of, I guess that we had back then is what we're
different?
lacking now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's, we got to be reassured and tie ourselves to the labels and or the stigma or whatever you feel is that you fit in. I mean, there's nothing wrong with being well versed because shit, you got associates that you deal with that might be into one thing in particular, but that's not who your people is into. You know what I mean? But that doesn't make you standoffish or an outsider. I just think we just become uncomfortable in our own skin.
Yeah, I agree with you 100% on that, man. I think there's just
but
people are not able to accept who they are. And again, we're not talking about Dwayne Wade's child. He has made the decision to become a woman, and that's on. And that's
don't cut off his dick though, Dwayne. Okay, don't cut the dick off.
So you agree with Bootsy that because I agree that like we said last week, this was my son, and this was a choice he was making. Then no, you're not going to change your genitalia until you're old enough to do it for yourself. Because I'm not prescribing to that. You know what I mean? Again, if that's what you want to do, that is a choice that you are going to go ahead and make. And again, I have my reasons. My wife was trying to say, well, what if he, emotionally his body, and I'm like, he's a man. Men and women have different hormones.
You ain't getting that shit back
until you inject them with something else to change that physiology of who they are. So I can't. Now, does he want to be a woman? That's a completely different thing. But don't hit me with emotionally his body is in trauma or whatever other picture they're trying to paint. Sure, you want to be a woman, but you're gonna work for it, you're gonna make it happen, whatever the situation may be. That's what you're gonna go ahead and do, because it's a choice that you're making, and it's something that you want in life. I support you to a certain extent. So, I support the choice. Will I push the button and make it happen for you? No, because that's something that you're going to need to go ahead and do. And also because, again, if this isn't the move forever, I don't want to be looked at as a person that assisted that, transformation. Oh, I felt pushed. You said I had to do it. It was now or never type of shit. You know what I mean? So props to his family. And
but with the choices that you're making, you know what I mean? And this is life. Because when you're 12 years old, you weren't making the right choices. You know what I mean? And then the percentage of error was a lot higher at 12 than when you're 16, and then it's a lot lower when you're in your mid 20s, and then the 30, and that's just a progression of life. And it's unfair for them to put these choices and these decisions into the hands of a child.
Yeah, right.
You wouldn't let the child run the household. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And would you leave him there for 6 months? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
By himself? Fucking supervised?
Yeah.
No,
you wouldn't.
You don't let him make life decisions like that, man. You let him figure himself out. Be supportive in any way you can. But
and he's chosen to do that. So, like I said, props to his daughter. Props to the family. Hopefully it all works out to, however they have it envisioned and whatever the ultimate
more than he find his identity, I pray that boy find his peace.
Yeah, and maybe that's it. Maybe this is a peace by finding who he really is. Who are we to judge? So we're actually going to do some judging right now. What a segue. So man, hip hop is constantly moving in different directions when it comes to cats chasing the bag, so to speak. So just a couple weeks ago, you and I sat down, talked about Erykah Badu and the coochie perfume. And
go, baby girl.
And sold out.
She sold the fuck out in 19 minutes.
Sold out.
Hey, and if you motherfuckers got that candle, you need to invite me over for dinner. Because I'm trying to say, hey, my sniffer is stuffed right now, but I will try my damnedest to go ahead and get a whiff of that sniff, boy.
So it's incense. And was going for $50 a pop. I tried to go cop, but I was too slow. I was at work. I couldn't do it.
You logged in 21 minutes too late.
Well, I didn't know because I don't follow her on the social media network. So I saw someone say something on, I think it was Twitter or something like that, or Facebook. And I was like, oh, snap. Went to the site. And it was already.
You called it, so you knew that shit.
We knew it was going to go. We knew it was going to go. And so props to her. She's got a whole bunch of other dope shit on her site. I don't know the name right off the top of the head, but Google it. Erykah Badu's brand site or something like that. 'Cause she's got everything. She's, I saw a fly. Well, not flies. She has a Baduism on vinyl. You know what I mean? So that's a cop. If I can get Baduism on vinyl, and I can get Baduism live on vinyl, I'm all good for that. But so Erykah's out there doing her thing. We know about the other cats who went the liquor way and stuff like that. So a couple new ways that people are moving, and I want your takes on this side. So Valentine's Day, Young announced that Young M.A. Shout out to my boy Dub, who rocks with her music heavy. Young M.A. Released a sex toy in conjunction with Doc Johnson or whatever, and I guess it's some sort of like little strap-on vibrator joint or something like that. That'll be available sometime in March. One half of the Black Beatles kids, Ray Schmurder, whatever Sway Lee is coming out with a unisex boot with a heel on it. So ladies can rock it, fellas can rock it. And finally, hip hop goats, legends, arguably top 3 to 5 hip hop groups of all time, and we've had this conversation many times. Just 2 constitute a group. Is the Woo a group? So, but you got to put boneless Thugs and Harmony right up in there. So, we are never to hate on anybody trying to secure their bag. That's not how we get down here at an honest conversation about hip hop. But Son Kapone, let me ask you, what are your thoughts on these moves?
Shit. I think we done went into the 99-cent store of retail right now. Like, motherfuckers is reaching. You know what I mean? Like, come strap-ons and shit. Like,
well, let's talk about Young Ma's demographic.
Well, I mean, of course that, but baby, save your $80 and holler at a dog. You know what I'm saying?
Well, we're talking about her demographic. So her demographic is going to be a lot of lesbian chicks who are studs, some of them, and I assume, because again, I'm not well versed in the culture, but I'm assuming that they use them. And there's another market of straight.
It's not Tupperware, motherfucker.
Perform with them, strap them on. I don't know the terminology.
Hey, Tupperware turned into Supperware.
Pops had Playboy in the crib, and they was never pulling out strap-ons on the Playboy joint we had. The Playboy channel was tame, so we wasn't seeing that. But there's a market there, so I can understand. They offer. Get the bag, you make that, you make that run. I guess Sway Lee is, I don't know if he's a fashion icon.
With the boots and shit, like we seen Prince do that shit, and you know what I mean. But that was Prince. You know what I mean. Yeah. So I don't know with unisex. But you never know, man. This motherfucker's walking around here looking fruity as fuck with the loafers and shit like that. Like them loafers. Like with the loafers and with the exotic ass color, like it remind me of my mama's work shoes and shit like that. Like, and motherfuckers think that's cute, but I don't think that shit is fly. You know what I mean? And I'm probably one of the grimiest pretty boys that y'all know, but I'm not doing it. The little loafers and shit like that.
So you don't think anything he releases from his collection you'll even give a second thought?
It might go because it's a lot of Dwayne Wade got a lot of stepsons out in the world and shit. You know what I mean? So, there's a lot of the fuck is it, the Boys and Girls Club and shit, and motherfuckers is running. So, hey, for these youngsters, like shit like that is cool. You know what I mean? Like, to me, I couldn't fuck with it. You wouldn't see my big ass in no motherfucking
You're not gonna be trying to balance on the back of a heel.
Like fuck no, but it might go. You know what I mean?
Look, so let's just talk about this Bone shit. What the fuck? Like, I don't understand this. And let me shout out to the Digital Soapbox Network. Shout out to Crazy Bone. Shout out to Big Norm, man. I just don't understand it. I just think they are too iconic of a group.
But man,
to make that move.
But I mean,
Buffalo Wild Wings.
But who knows? See, understand, bro. And when they came up, man. They came up, you know what I mean, when motherfuckers didn't know still about their publishing and shit like that. So they probably don't even own their fucking publishing. So
any of the classics, I understand.
So Bone is right now. Bone, unfortunately, is young M.A. and Sway Lee or whatever. Bone, I think, is in a more of a compromising position to where they, I know this wasn't a fucking. This was something that they just agreed upon instantly because I know their fucking brand is, it's legendary.
Yeah, legendary. And I mean, not the only good thing, but one of the smart moves in regards to this is they all have separate things that are moving. Crazy has his podcast. If I'm not mistaken, they're gonna start telling tour stories or something to that effect or whatnot. They're all doing other things now. You know what I mean? So, of course, you're gonna get national attention, buzzed for a few days. I just hate that our legends have to do this. Yeah. I hate every time I see MC Hammer dancing in a Coca-Cola commercial. You know what I mean? I hate that our legends are reduced to, to these type of opportunities. You know what I mean? And again, who knows? Maybe it's a crazy bag.
We hate it, but the reality of it is that, man, no matter how big you make it, and I mean, shit, in this country, this is what we're gonna be subjected to until
it costs
we change
to live,
it.
right?
You know what I mean?
It costs to live, and so I understand that. But I was just when I saw the headline start, Bone changes their name to Boneless. Yeah. And then it was lazy or somebody didn't want to do it or whatever. So I was like, are they taking shots? At first I thought they was beefing.
Nah, it's just the campaign.
Right. So then I clicked on the link and it was just this little or not a little, but it was a big campaign. And so again, props to them, do what they do. I was shocked. I wouldn't, if you would have told me which legendary hip hop group is going to connect with a chicken wing franchise, I wouldn't have been able to tell you. Bone would have been the last
one that you had.
Last, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So speaking of legends, Snoop, he's currently on tour right now, trying to squash the Gayle King situation. He'll be on a Table Talk with the Jada Pinkett and her mom, and I think Willow's her name or whatever, talking about the just how bad things have gotten between black men and black women, the disrespect. So that'll be a very interesting conversation for them to have. But recently, Snoop was asked about the Drake and Pusha T beef. And what he stated was that he feels that it was a tie. He feels that Drake was able to make it a tie because of the fact that at the time he had songs that are going to be around for a long time. So even though you diss me on wax, people are singing Kiki Do You Love Me. You know, at your daughter's birthday party, they're probably going to play Kiki Do You Love Me. You know, so in his mind, he felt that he had won. Even though there's video of Drake sitting down with, I think it was LeBron and them saying, I lost. He exposed my kid and I lost. So let me ask you, what do you think, you know, where was Snoop's mind on that one?
Snoop don't want to sell Buffalo Wild Wings that's boneless, you know what I mean? So he being, I mean, hey, it's a business move. You don't want to have any bad blood, and Snoop has always been, I mean, other than young Snoop has always been politically correct with the industry. So, you know, he hasn't went off on anybody in regards to hip hop. So, you know, Snoop probably looking for a Drake feature in the back pocket or some way that Drake can help him out. So he's not trying to, you know, start no shit.
Yeah.
So he's just protecting his bag.
Do you also think he's thinking from the mindset of when he was, you know, in those same type of beefs? And so the one that comes to mind would be, you know, when Easy dropped Real Compton City G's. To me, that was a harder diss record than what they had dropped. They dropped, what was that, Dre Day or whatever? That was harder. But at that time, Death Row was making better music. So do you think maybe that's where his thought process comes from? Because I would think someone who appears to be as well versed in hip hop as Snoop is would be able to say, yes, you know, Drake definitely took the L there.
No, I just don't think Snoop would mention that shit publicly. You know what I mean? As far as like I said, he's protecting relationships, and that's everything.
And that's standard industry shit for the cats moving.
Everything is copacetic with Snoop. So you know what I mean? Like, I don't think that he's gonna stir up the pot. You know, I think that Snoop left us back in 96, 97.
Yeah. How foul is the culture for spreading the Lauren London and Diddy rumor?
It's foul, man. But we're looking for news. You know what I mean? And that's the fucking problem. We're not focused on our own shit, and we're looking for something to believe into. You know what I mean? Yeah. And that's, you know, whether it's good shit, bad shit, you know what I mean, or any shit, you know, unfortunately, we buy into it. You know what I mean? Fuck. Remember we were kids, the National Enquirer and shit like that would be in front of the magazine or in front of the checkout stand and shit like that. You're looking at all these stories and shit like that. But we get that shit 24/7 now, you know, with posts, and you know, we got to look at the legitimacy of the sites that they're coming from, and that's how I kind of tell where it's fake news or not. You know what I mean? But, you know, we buy into all this bullshit, man.
Did Puff say anything? Did he come out and say? Because I know she came out and said stop playing with my name and all this kind of shit like that. He didn't say nothing.
Nah.
Which is fucked up.
You think it might be some shit going down, or?
I mean, I saw the photos. They were in a little.
Puff is known to be leaving these hoes hanging, though.
Puff's a nasty nigga, you know. Would he make that move? And here's the other thing. I
wouldn't put it past him.
And this is why I wouldn't, because people are grieving. And again, no disrespect, but these are facts. Puff has lost Kim. Lauren has lost Nipsey. They're both grieving. There's that weird energy that's out there when that's happening. And again, no disrespect to anybody who's lost their loved one.
Motherfuckers watch Ghost and it's over with and shit, like, man.
But, you know, I think Puff should have said something. I don't think she should have had to.
Well, to clear it up, but you know what I mean? Like, it's more touchy for her than him. You know what I mean?
Right, but before it even gets to that point, yo, this is not
cool. Yeah,
not cool. Don't report that.
yeah.
You know what I mean? So that way she doesn't even have to say anything. You know, but yeah, that's super foul.
Yeah, but when has Puff ever been a stand-up dude? You know what I mean? Shit.
Yeah, nah, I don't.
So yeah, we can't be expecting him to be doing that shit.
Yeah, that's a whole nother episode.
Yeah.
Did you hear Eminem on Crook's Corner?
I got the video, but I'm guilty. I did not.
Okay,
see that shit.
so he admits to being a guest in the House of Hip Hop.
All right.
So Lord Jamar was spot on. Mm-hmm. He says, yes, I am a guest, and I never said I was the king of hip hop. Does that change your thoughts on him within the tier of these elite rappers now that he is a guest? Is he now excluded from all of these categories when it comes to real hip hop?
I mean, he is hip hop. You know what I mean? He definitely is hip hop, and he is elite. You know, I'll give him that. He is definitely elite with his skills and what he's given, because he sacrificed a lot of himself. Now, I'm not a fan of the shit, but I mean, like I said, as far as his contributions, his contributions are up there with all the other legends.
Right, and
you know what I mean?
Surpass many of them.
Oh yeah, of course.
I don't like the word guest because it almost sounds as if he's like not a member of hip hop. You know, if you look at it from like maybe a country club standpoint, you know, if I'm a guest, there's certain shit I can't do because I'm not a member. I'm there because
the towels and shit.
I'm there because somebody else got me in that motherfucker. You know, can you go get me my drink from the clubhouse? You know,
he's just paying homage, man, and you know what I mean. Like, they've humbled him, you know, with this Nick Cannon shit and all this other stuff, and you know, Nick trying to throw old shit at him and trying to throw him under the bus. I mean, all he can do. And again, these cats are older now. They with Snoop, same shit.
Right.
You know, you're just trying to be politically correct, not stir up no bullshit, and don't get no negative energy tossed your way. And that's the difference between, you know, these youngsters and the veterans.
But with Am, he's the one bringing the negative energy. He's dropping surprise records and dissing cats that have never really said anything about him, you know?
Yeah.
But, I mean...
well, you know, M is like, you know, Floyd in his prime. He's only taking fights that, you know, that don't threaten him. You know what I mean?
Here we go. Let me ask you this. Paul Rosenberg is stepping down from Def Jam.
Damn, already.
God
damn.
Shit. So, man, is it a wrap for Def Jam? I mean...
Yeah. I mean, it's been a wrap. Like, when the fuck was they relevant, man?
Can anybody save Def Jam? You think there's anybody in the industry right now that has the ability to save Def Jam?
No, not the way that the complexion of the industry is right now.
And I'm not saying it's going out of business. It's going to fold. But can it ever get back to prominence?
Nah,
you
no
know,
way.
No,
you
don't ever think so,
bro. That's I mean, that's you know what I mean. That's like recapturing Motown in the 60s. You're not gonna get it. You know what I mean.
And it's gonna be interesting what happens because a lot of these Rosenberg projects, you know, where he was working on some shit where LL Cool J was supposedly coming out with new music with Q-Tip and other people producing them, and some of these other older Def Jam, supposedly Luda's coming out with some shit. Some of the flagship artists are supposed to be coming back. So I wonder if
that's all on hold.
I wonder if the investors over at Def Jam looked at that and said, man, some of these budgets I'm not fucking with.
Yeah.
I'm not giving Ludacris $3 million to put out a fucking album in 2020.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I mean, yeah.
You know, because some of those budgets had to be up there. Sure, LL's not doing shit for peanuts.
Yeah, you ain't pulling him away from fucking NBC for, you know what I mean?
Luda's not coming away from what's that nigga Vin Diesel? He's not coming from the Fast and Furious 11 to fuck around in the studio, unless he's gonna do it from home. But then again, most likely, budget looks a little different based off that.
Yeah,
you know. So we were talking about earlier about the Pop Smoke shit. And I sent you the little story about the kid that said, hey, I'm the one that gave up his address. My bad. You know, he owed some dude some money, and I just wanted them to link and talk it out over or whatever. And in the process of doing that, of course, it's discovered that he's on some bullshit. And then he's promoting a song with supposedly some unreleased Pop Smoke vocals on fucking SoundCloud. So basically just using this young man's death and murder to further advance your career. Then we got this kid in Australia, and this is alleged because there's some people who say no, he's really 9 or whatever.
I don't know. I see the little fucker with a wine glass and shit
I
chilling.
seen wine glass. I seen him throwing up gang signs and shit. No, so
nah, that little fucker's 18 or 19 and shit.
So if he is underage, horrible parents. And if he's 18, horrible fucking parents. Either way, because you got this little motherfucker out here scheming and grifting and shit. What's up with all this clout chasing in 2020? I thought this shit was done.
Hell no, it ain't never gonna be done, man. Because again, we're so fucking consumed, and I mean, this is the Matrix, bro. Like, we are so consumed with everyone else's life that ours are fucking irrelevant, man.
Yeah, and you know what? Everybody's quick to make a decision on something.
Hey, I want to tell you this, man. Hey, I'm probably 98% of the parents that's advocating for the bullying haven't hugged their kids this week. You know what I mean? Like, fuck. You know what I mean? Yeah.
I'll fuck you up. Yeah, you know. Man, I'm so sad what happened to that little boy in Australia. Send him $20.
Yeah.
Hell no, you can't have no more cereal. You know, this shit is crazy, man. And you had these stars who were jumping out the window and, you know, this kid is this and I'll be your friend and you can fly with me to Disneyland. And this motherfucker sitting on top of Lamborghinis and shit, throwing up neighborhoods
in a fucking Gucci suit for a 2-year-old.
Well,
you know what I mean? Like
that's like $33. That's that's not that much.
Well, I don't know.
You can dress real fly. If you 2.5, man, we had Diami looking real good. 2.5, he was doing it. You know?
Now that he got into boys,
oh yeah,
shit,
now that them shoes ain't kid
Mm.
shoes no more. Like, you want what? Nah, we gonna wait till them joints go on clearance, son.
Them Vans is looking nice though.
Yeah, but they look like sneakers. Got my fans on. They look like sneakers. Hey, shit. But that shit is crazy, man. And I think he ended up. Well, he had amassed almost $200,000.
No, it was almost 3. It's like 280, almost 290.
So you think?
But that was this morning.
So do you think he gets those chippers or what?
Hell, they cashing the fuck out. Y'all got played. Shit.
So there was that couple who said that they were raising some money for a homeless man, and they ended up stealing the money. He was like in Ohio and shit.
But they got criminal charges.
They went to jail. So I wonder what Australia's laws are like when it comes to shit like that.
Hey, I mean, hopefully just that strict, because you know that shit is fucking foul, and it's a real epidemic as far as what these kids are going through. Because there's actually kids that are harming themselves and even taking their lives.
Yeah, that little girl murdered herself just recently, took her own life. And then left a letter saying that she didn't even want pictures.
We become too insensitive, man.
Yeah, she was saying she didn't even want pictures at the funeral because she was ugly.
You know what I mean?
You know what I mean? Like, that's and it goes back to what you were saying earlier. Not here on the show, but on the phone. We were talking about some of these. What is the likelihood of parents who were either career driven or just absentee parents? Mm-hmm. You know, you can be in the same room as your child, but not be in the same room with your child. And again, I'm not judging anybody, but how does it get to that point where you allow your child to feel that way about themselves and you can't feel when your child is off? Like, I know when Diami is off, and I can feel that, and I'm not going to let him tell me he's fine until I can feel that energy again. You know what I mean? Or we figure out why you're off. But it's crazy, man.
But again, and this is where, accountability, and not even accountability, man, but certain ways that we were all raised, man. You know what I mean? And there's certain things that we don't know how to touch or don't know how to embrace because it wasn't presented upon us. So, as far as mental health and getting it right, if you never had that love, you know what I mean, you want to say that you're gonna go ahead and compensate for your children on what you didn't have,
right.
There are situations where they're not, not knowing how to express that or communicate with their children, and we're just too prideful to get help, man, and that's the problem. We need help, and there's nothing wrong with needing help, and especially when it's not only affecting your life, it's affecting the lives of your babies.
Yeah, definitely, man. So, some sports shit. NFL the owners announced that they're going to add one more game next year.
Oh, it's official?
Well, they've announced it. Players have to sign off on it.
All
so
right.
they announced.
Yeah, I seen TJ or JJ Watts say hell no or something.
Yeah, so one more game, 2 more playoff teams, and in exchange, and this is not the language in the deal, but to put your body through some more abuse, which the players have been against. And there's more international travel worked into this as well. But in exchange for that, the players' union will get an additional shares when it comes to the revenue share, which this year would have equated to an additional $5 billion going to the players' union, as well as no more tests for marijuana. So your thoughts on adding additional games or one game, adding 2 more playoff teams. One team now only gets a bye in each conference. So what are your thoughts on some of these proposed changes?
That's master at work, man. You know what I mean? Like, hey, no 8 to 5. It's sun up till sundown. You know, and it, with the $5 billion sound like a lot of money, but I know that there's a lot of funding from the players union that's contributing to retired players and those that are playing now. So no, I mean for them to extend it and get more out of them, I don't think it's right, because I mean they got issues as it is, with health and all of that. So I just think it's pressing too much on them.
When I thought about the $5 billion, at first I was like, all right, there's like whatever, there's 53 dudes on the team, and then you got 5 on the practice squad, so you got no more than probably 2,000 people in the league, right? And if that $5 billion is only going to the players, then they'd be some fools not to take that additional. It's like $23 million per dude. You got guys on the team that would never see that money. You know what I mean? But as you said, what else are they funding? Because again, if
they're paying for their drugs and I mean, shit. Look at what Clinton Portis
all
and
the dudes that they got caught up on that
scams
bullshit scams, right?
Getting all these machines and shit like that.
So why aren't these dudes being taken care of properly? And even older cats. So what's my man? He's a Dallas Cowboy. One of the old. It's not Earl Campbell, but one of the older Dallas Cowboy dudes. I want to say he was a receiver or something, where he couldn't walk anymore because his knees were all jacked up or whatever, and they finally went ahead and gave him a little bit of money, but it was nothing. You know what I mean? And he ended up dying. So
them old brothers is beat the fuck up.
So
man.
If they do get $5 billion, where do you think that goes?
I mean, because it's dictated by the players union. So I mean, I would assume. I don't think that a lot of it is frivolous. You know what I mean? As far as where they're wasting it on bullshit. But again, man, these cats, and this is something that I'm starting to understand and going through what the fuck I'm going through right now is we put our bodies through hell, and you know what? That motherfucker caught up to me, and I nowhere lived a physical fucking life that these cats have.
Right, exactly.
So with the health care and shit like that, and the attention that they need, and the drugs and the equipment, and things to make them feel at ease and be pain free. That shit costs, you know what I mean? So, I would say the majority of that shit is medical.
So you think it costs $5 billion to take care of the medical expenses of what?
Bro, you talking about motherfuckers with,
billion though, Dan.
Yeah, but
billion.
But operate. How much do you think a fucking hip replacement costs? Just one.
Just one?
Probably about $200,000.
Nah, I'm saying it's got to be $50,000-$60,000.
Fuck no! Where are you going, to the fucking Philippines?
Nah, I'm just saying. With technology, I don't think it's $200,000.
Yeah, man, and all them drugs and shit. The way they be raking up the prices and putting.
Well, again, you're the NFL, so I don't think the NFL is paying the same price that you and I would pay. They'll probably cut in on something.
I mean, of course not, but they're still getting taxed.
So let's say there's less than 300,000 people who currently exist and get kickouts or pay from the players union. You're getting $5 billion?
But you're talking about pensions and the medical.
Right.
And, pensions, medical, and then whatever the fuck that they're putting in. I mean, like I said, we would have to see the breakdown.
Yeah. I'm thinking you could give somebody, take the deal, and you give somebody, you give each player, these old dudes, probably get $1 million to $500,000, and still have enough money left to do whatever the players' union needs to do. No. I don't understand. I understand, if the revenue is, if they're getting that much cake, then how come we're not taking care of these older dudes?
But if you give them $1 million, you know what I mean? That's shit. It's what, 9, or that's only 1,000 people that you can give $1 million to. You know what I mean? Or no, not 1,000. You're talking about 5,000.
Right.
And there's way more players that I think that have been in the league than 5,000.
Right, but you start with your worst case scenarios, and then you're getting this revenue every year. This is revenue on top of whatever you got going on. However else they make money, I'm sure the players' union is not waiting to get revenue.
True that. But I mean, who knows how much revenues that they are fucking getting?
Well, it said in the article they were getting. It would have been $5 billion in revenue this year. Mm-hmm. that they would have been able to.
So they'd have doubled up with this new plan.
Yeah, basically it would have doubled up with the new plan.
Yeah, I mean, but still, that's.
Yeah, and again, we don't have all the details on how it works, who gets paid. But when you throw those numbers out, it's crazy. And then when you hear stories like, what's my man's name? Greg Robinson. Mm-hmm. That was the dude that got busted coming across the. From what was it, TJ to Diego with the
pounds or some shit.
Crazy.
Hey man, Narcos is a great series, but don't relive it, homie.
He couldn't get into the legal weed business here in the States.
I mean, shit. Remember, he's probably going through South, so he's probably parking Texas and shit. They're not on.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, I think he was a former Auburn Tiger. He's offensive lineman. I think he went to Auburn, so he's a Southern cat.
Could you imagine 100 pounds in fucking Alabama, man? He'd have had the summer of his life. He'd have got that shit delivered.
Well, they talking about he's looking at 20-something years in the pen.
No, they ain't fucking around. He should be happy because shit, it'd been 10 years ago. He'd probably looking at 40 or 50. You know what I mean?
That shit is crazy. You go. But again, I think he was a former NFL player. He's not in the league anymore, right?
Nah.
So burnt out the league. Where's his pension money? What's going on with that? You know
shit.
What I mean?
Yeah, the motherfucker had to go sell weed. Shit,
like flipping his pension money. That shit is crazy.
Y'all better go play in Tokyo this summer, motherfucker. Shit.
Oh man. Anything else before we get out of here, son?
Yeah, man. We pretty much brushed up on everything. Shit. Shout out to everybody tuning in, man, and shit. Appreciate y'all.
Yeah, man. Big shout outs to our boy Big Pooh, man. We gonna see you soon, man. Glad you are progressing and getting better every single day. Fuck SC. But yeah, man, that's it. Just want to shout out to everybody who listens. You know where to find us. We are on Spotify. We are on Google Podcasts. Of course, you can find us on Lisbon, and you can also find us on Facebook. And you can find us on YouTube. Just Google An Honest Conversation About Hip Hop, and bada bing, bada boom, we are there. You can subscribe, you can like, you can share, you can leave hateful comments. We here for it all. Big shout out to one of our listeners, Fat James Bond, man. He tuned in last week, listened to the show, said it was fire. Tuned in a couple weekends ago and said there's no way that Kapone is putting hands on Russell Wilson.
Russell fucking Wilson.
Hey,
get the fuck out of here,
with the perm.
I'd beat him with a fucking Harry Potter fucking novel and shit, man.
I want to see when the back is right.
Hey, I ain't Future. I'll whoop that boy's ass and shit, man.
You know, it ain't gonna. You know what? We gonna have to set up for charity.
Hey, he could duck around the Niners defense and the Cardinals and shit, but I'll bust his ass.
So Joey Bosa, who is pursuing this cat, is not going to be able to get to him, but Kapone, who's pursuing Russell.
No, we talk about squaring the fuck up. I'm not talking about socking him.
He still might be light on his toes, so he gonna come for him.
He better run.
Bink.
Yeah, he ain't bink, and he got to get inside. And when his ass get inside, he gonna get touched the fuck up. Sierra ain't gonna like me no more.
So if Russell smashed on you, knocked you down, and Sierra's standing over you talking that shit, like, that's what you get, ladies and gentlemen. It's Russell Wilson.
Hey, shit! Then I'm fucking calling the fucking players union, and y'all gonna be playing in London, so y'all gonna pay me out some of that $5 billion in pension. You know, shit.
You would sue, huh?
I'm suing like a motherfucker,
my neck and my back.
Hey,
Huh?
I'm pulling a 40 Glock on that motherfucker.
Yo, that shit is so crazy. I was watching that
I'm not a
interview.
gangster. It's Pooh, who ain't here to go ahead and represent, stated, I am a civilian, okay?
I seen that interview where he was trying to break down why he sued or whatever. And, you know, he's like, I didn't snitch on anyway. I just sued and da-da-da-da-da. And then they had to pay him like millions of dollars. Mm-hmm. But the game's a fucking dummy because he got 40 Glocks sued him. Now he owes old girl all that money. Like, he needs to stay the fuck
out of cameras, man.
Yeah, just
and
go somewhere
he was raised, you know, he was raised with the code, man. You know what I mean? Like, dude.
It's something within his genetics. Him.
You think so?
Man, the tattoos and I don't know. He's always he's very emotional. And I'm only telling, and I can only call that based on his reactions, how quick he is to get some shit tatted on him or whatever. You know, again, self-esteem.
No, we're talking about Dwayne's child, and game is in the same boat. He's looking to be accepted, bro. No, it's not. Right. It's not in the transition of who he is, but you know, he does these things to be accepted. You know, within whatever group or, you know, wherever he's going. You know what I mean? So, you know, the Kobe, the Nipsey, you know what I mean? He ties himself to it, and I don't think he ties it out of respect or love. I think he ties himself
just necessity.
You know,
to be a part of that.
Exactly.
That's crazy, man. Because we've talked about on the show the clout chasing and the need to kind of fit in. Pop Smoke's posting all that shit online before he passed because he's needing to go ahead and, you know, and fit in. You know, to a lesser extent, Bone needing to be relevant to another market somehow. So they're going to fit in by changing their name to Boneless Thugs and Harmony. And so, you know, you're not saying that Dwayne's daughter is trying to fit in, but she's obviously looking, you know, for her place. Yeah, and at the end of the day, we hope. We hope she finds her peace, whatever that may be.
Yeah, and that's it, man. Because you know, it's still a child, and we shouldn't be going hard. I know we feel a certain way, but again, I think one of the worst things that we can do is critique others' parenting. You know what I mean?
Of course.
And I mean, no, there's no handbooks to this shit. There's no proper way to do it. And you know, certain parents get hit with different shit that we might not be ready for. Right, you know what I mean? So how we would handle it, we can, you know, honestly say it, but you know, until we're in that situation, there's really nothing that we can validate our truth.
And it's crazy that you say that, because it was crazy how everybody was like, oh, y'all, you know, T.I.'s a horrible dad and da-da-da-da-da. But when it comes to Dwayne and those people say, yo, I would never do that to my son, it's none of your business. That's his child. Yeah. But when it came to T.I.'s daughter,
it's a double standard and shit. But
yeah, definitely. But it's just crazy how, again, social media chooses when they're going to have the fake outrage versus the justifiable shit. Yeah. So I just want to thank everybody for tuning in and listening, again, to an honest conversation about hip-hop with Son Kapone. I am your boy D. Maraney, a.k.a. Hip-Hop Old Head, a.k.a. Hip-Hop's Uncle Phil. And until next week, we're going to let Nyce Rockwell take us out of here. Y'all have a good one. Peace.